What's up, guys? Welcome back to the NRL Fantasy Scout channel. Today we're going through my current team draft. Be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel if you're enjoying this preseason content. And if you want any advice for your teams throughout the season, as well as player projections, minute projections, stats on potential value, and more, the link to our premium service is in the description below. Be sure to sign up if you're interested. We're currently running a discount up until Vegas, so sign up before it's gone. And without further ado, let's get into it. Now moving on to my team. I know from last time there aren't too many changes. In fact, there are only 3, and 2 of those are player changes. So all that's moved is I've gotten rid of Dylan Edwards and Tamale, and I've added Jai Gray and Jerome Hughes. To accompany that move to add in Hughes, I've shifted Tom Chester into my starting lineup rather from the emergencies. Now, the reasons I've added Jai Gray over Dylan Edwards is because I think with the 6 again rule, Jai Gray will be very vital in making a lot of line breaks, getting quick ball, especially in tight defenses that make 10, 20 tackles at a time. And he can capitalize on that very, very well. Dylan Edwards, no doubt, will probably do the same, if not better, since he's playing for a better Penrith team. But I'd rather save that 100k and spend it elsewhere. And then I've changed Tamale into Jerome Hughes because I really like his fixtures to open up the season. And without the onus of Pappenhausen in the team, I think Hughes will elevate his role and will go back to his Dally M form. I'll roll through the rest of my team and quickly explain why I picked them. So, Bailey Hayward, I've gone with because he's nice and cheap, 375k. Whilst I don't think his scoring will be too hot, I think he'll definitely make at least 10 points of value, and he will rise nice at least 150k. Yo, I think he's a bit underpriced and he's a proven gun. He can score 60 plus each and every week. I think he'll average towards that 65 mark because he's still playing 80 minutes. Some people are fading him due to his age and think his role won't increase, but last year there were a couple HIA games plus Penrith's shaky start, and I think he is slightly undervalued. Mooney and Stewart, no brainers at this point. They're both having an elevated role, playing at least 50 minutes in their new roles, and with a PPM of near 1, they should become near keepers by the end of the year. In the edge, we've got Couchman, who actually has my captaincy armband. I think in Vegas he'll be making lots and lots of tackles, and I like to typically captain someone in Vegas just because if anything happens on the next team this Tuesday, I can plan around that. But people have been talking about fading him based on his first 2 trial games. I don't read too much into that. I watched the Charity Shield. He wasn't playing his 100%. They were just down weeks, it seems. I highly doubt he will have that lack of enthusiasm when playing in the regular season. Otherwise, he shouldn't make the squad. So I wouldn't read too much into it and think he's still a great option. Fafita, he's a underpriced keeper in my opinion, who will rebound at Souths. Cleary, what more can you explain? Good captaincy option every week. Hughes, I said, opening fixtures to start the round, very good. And I think he will go back to his Dally M form. Herbie, I'm completely sold on. I know the other boys aren't, but first opening 2 fixtures against Souths and Gold Coast, defensively not the best teams, and he could really blow scores out of the water. And especially in a centre position that is very dire in between, especially the 400k options, which a lot of people are going for, I don't like too much. I'm much more comfortable pairing Herbie with a cheapie. It's failed for now, but he's just a placeholder. Guy Gray, I mentioned, he had some affected games last year, not from injury, just due to his role changing, whether it be at 5'8", off the interchange and whatnot. So already he has 7 points of value, and just due to his high energetic nature, I think with this 6 again rule changing and dropping it back 20 meters, he will benefit off it very well. Following it, no brainer. And currently I have Chester, who I don't like at all, because based on the news of Labour getting suspended, it seems that when Labour returns, the spot is his. And now we know that with Jackson Purdue pretty much playing in the centres and Clifford playing halves, that centre spot no longer exists. I am debating whether I need a wing fullback, a gun. I do like Dylan Edwards, as I've said, or even someone like Reece Walsh, which I completely understand the hype behind. But when Setu 2 comes into the game, unless he has both centre and fullback, I it, if he only has wing fullback, it won't work because then I won't have a centre for round one since Makasini is playing a bye. So maybe I will have to start with Chester, but it will be out of spite and I need to try to think of a way around it. Tino, starting on the bench, underpriced scorer, couple injury games. Asadi, nice GP, looking good to starting to tell a spot. Dewey averages 60 and a halves. Maxini looks to be the starting winger on the left for the Tigers, so should be a good cash cow. I'm willing to make that gamble based on the news so far and pre-season. Then we got the usual cheapies: Paxton, Calhoun, Sanders, Smith. Cheap options should overperform in their price point quite comfortably, make a lot of money. Sanders is the one I'm not too keen on. I think he won't be that great, but due to his price point, he could make 5 to 10 points of value, which is what you want. But because he's so cheap, I'm only willing to have him as a non-scoring player. Like, he will sit in my emergency unless I have to play him, or unless he proves wrong at the start of the season, which I am more than happy to admit I'm wrong with Sanders. Now, the big omissions from my team are players like Haas, Dylan Brown, Marnie, and I've opted to go for Tino, Couch, and Yo because the way I view it is instead of spending all the money on Haas and then settling for two mid-ranges, if we do the math, that would be 75 points and then at best 50 and 50 from both Brown and Marnie. So that gives you 175 points. Yo, Couchman, and Tino, not conservatively, but they could easily average 60 as they have done in the past, and that already is 180 points, which is more than the other combination of Haas, Brown, and Marnie. That being said, why I'm not a fan of Brown so much, I understand the upside, and he's being paid that money to revitalize the attack, but being priced in the high 400Ks and already priced at 38 points, he pretty much has to become a 50 scorer to be a good cash cow. Same as Marnie. Now, it's not because they don't have the upside, it is there for both of them. With Marnie, he just has to play 80. Brown, he just has to do stuff in the attack, should get 50s respectively. But it's more so what could go wrong. With Marnie, there is Sonny Luke there. He could maybe play 60 minutes or even 70, and maybe he doesn't get that 50-point score. Brown, the Knights are still the Knights. I know they've got great players. I know they can break the game open, but I'm basing it off how they ended last year which was awful. And we saw last year when Moses was out and Dylan Brown had to be that dominant half, the Para attack still wasn't the best. So I'm not too convinced on it working more for the Knights. And when you play for those players, and if they start getting a series of 40s or mid 30s even, then you're just stuck with a player and you have to make 2 transfers to essentially cash down and cash up one of them. In the past, we've seen it with players such as Toikamano at the Tigers one year, Guy Arrow, these when he was at Roosters, and the list goes on. They're just off the top of my head. But I want to try avoid that this year rather than jumping on that bandwagon. As I mentioned, I don't like Ethan Sanders, and I'd rather not start with him than start with him. And there are the likes of McEwen and Lukey who I don't have, but they look like good options if they're cleared to start. McEwen, I'm not as skeptical about, but there is the fact that he is moving over to the right edge, and he might not be as effective as last year. So, but he does have that 412k price point, which is a lot better than being closer to 500, because even if he scores 40, he's a big cash cow, and we know he can score more than 40. So he's one I'd like to get into my squad. And then the other, Lukey, he has looked very good in the trials, and I was watching Penrith Cowboys game last week. It was against Penrith's reserve side, but the only issue with Lukey is he's been playing on the right in pre-season, and the vacant position due to Nana's injury is on the left, where McIntyre's been playing. So unless Lukey starts playing on the left, I doubt he's going to take Bateman's position, because the right edge is Bateman's position, and yeah, the one vacant is the left. So I don't actually know if Lukey's going to start, but if he does, he will quickly make his way into my side. And yeah, so that's my squad heading into round one. Hopefully, I've explained all my picks well and why I'm fading Haas. I know a lot of you have asked us, and I know fading him is scary because of his high ownership, but I think the reasons I listed before are worth it. Now, if you've got any questions about any of my picks, please let us know in the comments below. Remember, the link to sign up to our premium is in the description, and there's a pre-season special running up until Vegas. If you found this video useful, be sure to like and subscribe. I hope you all enjoyed, and we'll see you all in the next one.